aka Spider-Man, aka the Spider Menace. But rest assured, dear viewers, good night.
Welcome back, everyone. This is my Spider-Man No Way Home deleted scenes video for all the new stuff Marvel just revealed the last couple of days, including a version of Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man Venom symbiote suit because of what happened during the post-credit scene and the theatrical cut, and a really huge Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness crossover that was supposed to happen in the movie. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I'll be doing more Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire videos soon because they've also finally started to publicly talk about the future of their versions of Spider-Man. Do we call them variants? I guess you could think of them as variants of Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man. They all said that they think of each other as brothers. But careful for spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home if you haven't seen the movie. We're mostly talking about deleted scenes, alternate storylines that didn't make the final cut, but you kind of have to understand what happened to understand what almost happened, like Tom Holland in a full-on symbiote suit. The first look at the symbiote suit actually came from one of the concept artists who worked on the movie. You've probably been seeing a lot of concept art from the movie in the last week in your timelines. It all looks amazing, but it gives you a good idea for all the alternate scenes, deleted scenes, alternate storylines, and just missing characters that they were originally going to put in the movie. I've already done a video about the alternate ending and alternate post-credit scenes for the movie with the Venom character, but the writers said that originally they had a completely different storyline for Venom in the movie, and initially he was going to be a much bigger character. Like, we talk about the Sinister Six multiverse villains, and there's only really 5 of them in the movie. Venom would have been the number 6. And he would have also originally been fighting with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man during that big final battle at the Statue of Liberty. I'll put a link for that video in the description below. Venom was always going to be sent home to his original universe at the end of the movie, but it sounds like the way in which that was going to happen and the scene of him leaving the piece of the Venom symbiote behind changed later when they were finishing the movie. A lot of times the post-credit scenes are the last things that they film for these Marvel movies, and the directors of all the movies, not just Spider-Man No Way Home, but all the Marvel movies, usually will tell you that the Marvel people and Kevin Feige, the powers that be, always call the shots as to what most of the post-credit scenes wind up being, like the mid-credit scene and the post-credit scene, because some of the Marvel movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 have way more post-credit scenes than the other films. But a lot of times the directors say that they don't find out what the actual post-credit scenes are going to be till like the last minute right before they get filmed. For example, the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene with Tom Hardy's Venom getting teleported to the MCU and seeing Tom Holland's Spider-Man, that scene was filmed by John Watts in the Marvel people, not the Venom people.
Assured, dear viewers, we here at the Daily Bugle will not rest until we've uncovered the behind his web of lies. I'm Jay Jonas.
So like Tom Hardy went to Atlanta where they were filming Spider-Man No Way Home while that was happening to do that Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene. He was also going to be going to Atlanta to film other scenes too until they changed his storyline during the film. But I think it's easy to understand why Marvel did not give Tom Holland the actual full-on symbiote suit at the end of the movie, because they really only wanted to tease that they'd be doing a version of a symbiote saga in Spider-Man 4 and beyond, or whatever the college-era Spider-Man trilogy winds up being.
Wow. This feels good.
And the whole point of the story in Spider-Man No Way Home, when you think about it, was about taking everything away from Spider-Man, taking all the Iron Man Avengers tech away, stripping him of everything, turning him into more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like the classic comic book version, like the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man versions. Andrew Garfield even says friendly neighborhood Spider-Man during the movie, talking about himself. That's also why at the end of the movie, that new Spider-Man suit that Tom Holland makes for himself is a version of the classic comic book one. It's just a regular blue cloth one mixed with scraps from the advanced suit. Without any of the tech from before, beyond his web shooters that he made himself and the spare cartridges. And since a lot of you probably seen the movie a couple times, you probably come to the same conclusion. But I think the idea here is that he also saw Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's cloth Spider-Man suits and was inspired by them when he was making this suit. So he made this new suit to be more like their suits. Also, that's probably why his Spider-Man symbol looks a little bit more like their Spider-Man symbols. They're not all exactly the same, like each different Spider-Man has a slightly different symbol, but now they all look very similar. So for them to turn around and give him the symbiote right after that would have been just way too soon. So I am totally okay with them not doing this in the movie and just saving it for Spider-Man 4 or whichever movie they want to do it in. And a lot of times when they're coming up with storylines for future movies, they don't want to nail themselves into a corner or like predetermine too many things. Like they want to give themselves room to come up with some different story when they actually start making Spider-Man 4. But the biggest other new deleted scene, multiple deleted scenes really, features America Chavez, if you can believe it. That's right, she was supposed to be a really big character in the movie. You can see in these scenes, she's a key part of a couple of the major action scenes. There's a scene of her at an amusement park, at a bumper car ride, maybe this is like Coney Island, with Peter, MJ, Ned Leeds, Flash Thompson even, and Betty Brant. And she's wielding a book of magic casting a spell while everything around them and this bumper car ride is going crazy. The book of magic that she's holding in this scene was originally what Doctor Strange's magic box was going to be. You can actually see in this other deleted scene, another new deleted scene, where Spider-Man is fighting Doctor Strange. It's meant to be an alternate version of the mirror dimension fight scene. Doctor Strange throws Peter through a plate glass window of this restaurant, and it's meant to be another big Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 Easter egg for the scene where Dr. Octopus throws the car through the window while he's sitting there talking to MJ. Zoom and enhance in this scene, you can see Spider-Man is holding a book of magic, not a box. It's meant to be the same book America Chavez is wielding in this scene. I think the reason they changed that, the reason why they made it a box and not a book, is they felt like they were doing the Darkhold magic book in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and the Darkhold was such a big plot point during that movie, they didn't also want to use another magic book as a major plot point in Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll talk more about what's going on with the Darkhold during Doctor Strange 2 when we get some more trailer footage. The other deleted scene of America Chavez that we just found out about is during the big final battle at the Statue of Liberty. She's helping Spider-Man fight the Sinister Six characters hanging from this crane here, and she's wielding some kind of magical artifact. Like you can see her holding this up, pointing it at the Green Goblin on his glider while Spider-Man is trying to catch him. The reason, as you probably guessed it, why America Chavez isn't in the theatrical cut is because the way they flipped the order of the movies. Originally, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out way before Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's all try to forget about 2020 and everything that happened with all those delays. Not a great year. But we would have seen America Chavez debut for the first time in that movie, gotten to know her character, know how her multiverse portal powers work. She can open portals to other universes, other dimensions, like it's no big deal. Like the way that Doctor Strange or Ned Leeds in Spider-Man No Way Home open sling ring portals, they can only open portals to other places in the main MCU universe with those. But America Chavez is currently the only MCU character that we know about with the natural ability to open portals to the multiverse without spending billions of dollars to build a giant machine like Iron Man. So she's a huge part of Doctor Strange too, but after that movie, she would have then been a more active character in the MCU, showing up in other stuff, and she would have showed up to help Spider-Man with his multiverse problem, having just solved a big multiverse problem with Doctor Strange. Like, here we go again. The other big reason for them not putting her in the movie, because they could have introduced her during Spider-Man No Way Home and it wouldn't have been that big a deal, is because she was probably an alternate for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like, there was a point at which they weren't sure whether or not they were going to get Tobey and Andrew to come back. They did get them to come back, and I'm so happy that they did. But for a little while, they were trying to hedge their bets, so they had to come up with alternate storylines, like, what do we do if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield don't come back? Well, we still kind of want to do a multiverse movie. So that's why her in the final battle here just looks so different. Like, in order for Spider-Man No Way Home to work the way it did, they had to get everybody separately to say yes to coming back. And that's just so complicated. Of course, they're going to have a couple alternate storylines with a couple sub-characters to put in. They also had to change a huge part of Doctor Strange's storyline in Spider-Man No Way Home when they switched the order of the movies, but I've already done a separate video about all of his deleted scenes because of that and alternate endings, so I'll add a link for that in the description below too. And I know there are a lot of questions about Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, because there's so many different versions of all the scenes that they did in the movie. Like, there's literally like a whole other movie they could release full of deleted scenes. I've already done an alternate post-credit scene video for their characters. Originally, they were going to do post-credit scenes for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield just to show you what was going to be happening next with their characters, so I'll also link that in the description below too. I am working on a new Andrew Garfield video next because thankfully he finally started talking about coming back and what his plans are for coming back in more Spider-Man movies in the future. Yes, there is lots of talk about him coming back. I haven't really done a huge America Chavez Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness video yet because she only appears in a couple of short trailer scenes, but the idea in the movie is that she's the only person that they know of in the MCU who can physically portal herself to other universes and dimensions. And in the movie, the whole idea is that Scarlet Witch is kind of an antagonist, like she's kind of a villain, but in the same way that Doctor Strange was a villain to Spider-Man for a hot second during Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, they fought, but he wasn't really a villain. Scarlet Witch is using her chaos magic power now that she's way more OP and has been studying the Darkhold in secret for a long time to find her children, Billy and Tommy, somewhere in the multiverse. But the idea is that even though her chaos magic is super powerful, she still can't physically travel between universes without someone's help. And that's where America Chavez comes in. So, for instance, there's a scene here in the trailer where you see Doctor Strange and Wong protecting America Chavez using this really cool new spell. It sounds like they're trying to protect her from Wanda, who's just gone completely off the rails for a hot minute. Maybe she's being manipulated by someone else, but either way, that's why America Chavez is such an important character in the MCU now. I'm sure eventually we'll meet other characters, like you have Kang the Conqueror, who goes around deleting entire other universes, other timelines. So eventually there will be more characters who are capable of traveling across universes. There are probably a billion other deleted scenes that we don't know about yet, so if there are any other really cool ones that get released or that we find out about in the next couple of weeks, of course I'll do videos for those. My Andrew Garfield video should be up tomorrow. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. While you wait for everything, click here to learn how they changed all the timelines of the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, and click here for my brand new Thor Love and Thunder first look at Rune King Thor. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.